You may remember a wee while ago I came to clean this very car, and not just clean it, I coated it with Infinity Wax's Synergy Light 12-month coating. Well, I'm back again. It's now beginning of May, and you can see it's a lovely, beautiful Aberdeenshire day, and I need to give this thing a check out. I said I would come back to it in 6 months' time. It's been 6 months. I want to see, has the coating held up? Is it still doing anything? Does it need a freshen up? Does it need any kind of topper? How is it performing? And also, how are some of the environmentals impacting that as far as mineralization in coatings? It's something I want to try out today, so I'm going to be testing a few new products along the way. Stick around, we're going to have a quick walk around straight after the intro. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Specky. I make videos about detailing related content, but if you don't have time to watch videos, you can go ahead and listen to my podcast I have with my good friend Paul Dolden. It's called Specky and Paul Talk Detailing. It's available on all major podcast platforms. Please do go ahead and check that out, and while you're there, make sure you subscribe to this channel too. So what I've got today to try out a few extra bits and pieces. One is a new brand to me. This is D-Turner. You see their products there. These were provided to me by RA Pro, and I've got 4 different products to try. This is their LSP, but I have an acidic shampoo, which I think is going to be really interesting because much of the mineralization is what clogs your ceramic coating's pores, and an acidic product will break down that mineral buildup and hopefully maybe return some of the hydrophobics to the car. I also have an iron fallout shampoo which is going to be used. I've got a snow foam, I've got a hydrophobic glass cleaner, but this is a kind of assessment video, but also to try out some new things along the way. So let's head on to it right now.
So here it is in all its glory. It has been, like I said in the intro, 6 months since the application of Synergy Light, and from a distance the car does look great. However, when you get closer, you will realise that that brilliant white paint is not so brilliant. There is a film on there that will need to be removed in order to restore that lovely bright white colour. As usual, the lower third of the car is usually the dirtiest, because that's the section closest to the road. You can see there bit of grime. This car has been used relatively well. It's covered about 6,000 miles in the 6 months that I have been away from it. The owner is definitely taking full advantage of this car and using it really to give him a big smile on his face. I do believe donuts were discussed, and I'm not talking about baked goods. So you can see it is still a bit grimy and dirty, and in the background that is another Yaris GR owned by a friend of the owner of this car in for some work. So let's get on with it now. Let's give it a rinse off. I have not touched the car with any product whatsoever. This is just the pre-rinse to remove as much grime as possible, and also to check out the hydrophobics of the car. You can see it's not removing everything. That lower section of the car is definitely the worst. You can also see that the hydrophobics are not really there. It's clinging to water. It's not super hydrophobic. But as you will see in a moment, as you come up the car and away from the ground level, you'll start to see some of those hydrophobics returning. Front splitter definitely needing some attention there. Dead bugs and road grime, and water getting in my camera lens as usual. You can see though that the grime is coming off quite well. This means that the protection product underneath is still doing something. It's stopping a lot of the heavier grime from bonding to the paint, but it's not stopping all of the traffic film. You'll see that in just a minute. You can see it is removing grime and dirt, and that's what we want, This is all loose dirt that we don't want to be dragging around the paint. That's why we give the car a pre-rinse. You can see a lot of that grime is coming away quite nicely. However, a close look there reveals fingerprints on the boot lid. That means there is still a film of grime there that we need to get rid of. But you can see up here, lots of good hydrophobics. I didn't ceramic coat the black plastic sections, but the owner did tell me he used a spray and rinse protective product to keep it topped up and keep it hydrophobic. So that, I suspect, is what's giving it the hydrophobics there. Higher up on the paint here, though, you can see the hydrophobics are much more prevalent. We've come up above the wheel arch where there's a big difference. Below the wheel arch, below the door handle area, that sort of line, the swage line of the car, below it, hydrophobics aren't so good. But above it, you can see really nice hydrophobics here. This is a combination of the recent sealant and also the ceramic coating underneath. And my son joined me today for this video, and he'll take any opportunity he can to join me and to play with the pressure washer, to be honest. We're all big kids, we all love power toys, but I'm teaching him early. Obviously, lots of supervision here. This isn't a cheap car. I was reminding him, don't go too close. You can see there he's doing a good job. Wheels and tires also getting a good clean. I love those wheels. They're fantastic. Really good for cleaning as well because there's lots of space within those spokes in between. So really, really good to give them a good clean.
You want to know how many minutes it took me to build that?
What's he saying?
He's gonna kill you for breaking it.
I didn't even get on this.
That doesn't mean he didn't say it.
It does.
No, it doesn't.
It 100% does.
He says, I didn't hear him say it, so obviously it didn't happen.
I hear you! Did you hear that?
No.
So after a typical childish interlude, we'll get on and give some cleaning here, starting with the wheel arches, a good scrub around those. The tires then get a really good scrub. That's using the Detail Factory Pro Grip tire scrubbing brush. I've got a video on that if you fancy watching it. Really great brush. In that bucket is a mixture of wheel shampoo, and I'm also using an all-purpose cleaner in the pump sprayer, getting around the wheels. They were really surprisingly clean, these wheels. They didn't need much work at all, but I'm using the wheel woolies to get in through the spokes and into the barrels, and then I'm using the Garage Therapy wheel mitt to work on the spokes. And you can also reach behind those spokes, which is really, really handy. It stops grime build up there. Then it's time for the snow foam. This is from D. Turner that was introduced at the beginning. This is fluo foam, and it looks a very dark green color in the bottle, but when you mix it with water you get this nuclear snot color. Answer down in the comments, do you think this is a green or a yellow? I'm saying it's somewhere in between. But it's a fun product to use. Snow foams are fun to use. And the color is fantastic. If you're looking for someone to take note of you on Instagram or social medias, or you just want curtain twitchers to get a bit of excitement, use a product like this and they will definitely notice you. And like I said, it's fun. I'm a big kid, and my little one, he loves it too. This is a pH neutral snow foam. Used at roughly 1 to 10 dilution in the snow foam lance. It's not super thick, but it is a good wet foam, and it does cling quite well. and after about 5 minutes, I rinse it off at pressure from the bottom, just to annoy the internet commenters who say that you should rinse from above. I'm not just rinsing, I'm also pushing off any of the softened dirt. And this is what it looks like afterwards. The foam turns into green, weird ooze water. Reminded me of the Ninja Turtles ooze. Be careful if you're going to use this, if you have lock block, driveway, things like that, just in case it could stain. Having a quick look at the car though afterwards, you can see the bonnet there has really good hydrophobics, but that's a higher up panel, so it's not going to be as badly affected as the lower sections. Now this is Geon Restart Wash. It mixed into the foam lance. It's about 30 milliliters of the shampoo to roughly 500 milliliters of water. It makes a good foam, and the purpose of this is to try and remove some of the iron fallout particles that may be sticking to the paint and the wheels before I get in with a contact wash. I'll be talking about this in a podcast and in another video. But it makes a good foam. You can see some of the foam is trying to break up there. That's thanks to the ceramic coating underneath trying to repel it. I didn't see any iron fallout action here. I didn't see any of the typical purple running. What you do see, these little black spots on the arches, these are tar spots. The car was fairly covered in them actually. From 3 feet away you wouldn't notice them. And this is the D-Turner Sour Shampoo, which is the acidic shampoo. It needs a bit more strength, so there's about 100 milliliters of the shampoo into my 20 liters of water there. It makes a nice foam though, and it's a nice shampoo to use. Now I'm using gloves just in case if you're ever using a high acid or high alkaline product. You want to look after your skin, so make sure you wear some sort of skin protection. I'm wearing slightly insulated rubber weatherproof gloves here. The shampoo was a nice shampoo to use. The suds remained for a long time. It wasn't overly slick, it wasn't too slick, but it was slick enough to work around the paint. And I do suspect some of that slickness also came from the underlying ceramic coating on the paint as well. But it was a good shampoo to use, and like I said in the intro, the whole purpose of using this shampoo is to release some of the mineralization that can clog the pores of your paint and stop your ceramic coating from working as well. This came from a conversation with a few professionals in the detailing industry who had claimed that although their ceramic coating seemed to be dead after a couple of years, a demineralizing product helped to basically revive it, to allow the ceramic coating to properly interact with the water and not be blocked by the minerals that build up from your own water supply or from atmospherics. So this isn't a shampoo I would use every wash, but if you've got a ceramic coating and you're looking to try and revive it, bring back some of your hydrophobics, it's a really good one. And you can see here I'm at the end of the car and I've still got lots of suds in my mitt. This is after the rinse off on the lower section of the door, where before it was hanging on to water. You can see some of that hydrophobic behavior is starting to return now. The lower half still has taken a hit. The Synergy light has suffered a wee bit, but this section above it has really improved. The hydrophobics have really become stronger. This is just above the wheel arch on the front, and you can see great water behavior. I haven't added anything to this car. It's only received 2 snow foams and a wash, and already it's returning a lot of those hydrophobics. The bonnet was very hydrophobic before, it's even more so now. This is behaving like a freshly applied ceramic coating, which is really, really nice. And as far as I remember, this shampoo is one of the cheaper acidic shampoos on the market. Now it's time for some protection. You can see the pinkness on there. That comes from the D-Turner Hybrid Ceramic Spray Wax. can see it's even pink on the white panel there. But not to worry, it doesn't stay. It's a very simple and easy product. Spray it on, wipe over. Make sure you get a good, thin, even coverage. It's very, very easy to use. It's not too tacky or grabby. Just very simple and straightforward to wipe across. And once you've applied it, flip your towel to the dry side or take a second towel and buff any residue off. You'll feel an extra bit of slickness there. It's not an overly slick product, but you do feel a slight boost in the slickness. And it's as quick and easy as that to apply. Very, very quick. And a quick look at the hydrophobics you saw before where it was a bit slower on the lower half of the car, and now it's fantastic. It's a very, very hydrophobic product. I really like it actually. Now I wanted to try the hydrophobic glass cleaner, but there was already a glass coating on the Yaris that the owner had applied, so I decided to try it just on my own car here on my rear window. And you can see it was streaky and smeary and just not nice actually. It didn't behave like a normal glass cleaner. It flashed very, very slowly, although it did flash. But it just wasn't as nice to use. But I gave it a minute just to see how it would behave. It was still very, very slow to flash off there. I was getting a bit impatient here. You can see it's still quite smeary, but eventually it dries. And I tried the hydrophobics. Well, there weren't any. After talking to Wojtek at RA Pro about this, he said he's used it with great results in the past. And I told him it didn't work for me and I may have a Duff bottle here. You can see spraying it onto a wet panel or sheet of glass there, you can see that it does break up the surface tension of the water, but it just doesn't behave right. I shook it, I checked it, it just behaved really strangely. It flashed in patchy sections, and it didn't matter what I did, I could not get it to repel water. It just clung like a sheet. So I think I got a Duff bottle, but according to RA Pro, it is a good product. He offered to send me another one and I told him I just don't need any more. I already have some hydrophobic glass cleaners. But here we go. This is the finished result of the car. It's bright again. It's no longer dull with traffic film. You can see the reflection on that white paint. It's glossy and shiny. It's hydrophobic. It is just looking fantastic. There will be links to RA Pro and the products down below in the description. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.